Hello, this is Mr. Kent of MrKent.com. And recently I had a viewer question because he couldn't change the display on his tablet when he was flying his drone. Now that's what I understood the question to be. And so I thought, well, I'll check into this and see what I can find out, because I really didn't have an answer at that time. So I did a little bit of experimenting, and I'm sorry about the sound because I'm recording on my phone. So first of all, I have to make that clear. Secondly, I'm a little smarter than last time because I took the props off of my Bebop so I could play with the Skycontroller and not take the drone off. So the first thing that I want to do is we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the fly-in film. Okay, now in fly-in film, as you can see, I've got the mini map showing down there. Okay, and I can pull the trigger on my controller all I want, and that's not going to go away. In order to make that go away and come back, I have to go into the FPV mode using goggles. So lower right hand corner over here, I tap on the goggle symbol, and now I'm in the goggles, flying, flying FPV. Now, if I go ahead and pull the trigger, it switches from telemetry to the mini map and to nothing. So when I'm in FPV, pure FPV mode using goggles, that's the only time I can switch between the different modes of display. So we'll go back here, and now one of the things that if let's say that it's not working and it doesn't seem to want to work. So let's go back to the first opening screen here, and up in the upper right hand corner there's a little symbol, kind of looks like the Skycontroller, and we're going to tap on that, and then we get to a menu, and in the lower side, left hand side, it says buttons mapping. So we'll go ahead and click on buttons mapping, and on the left side of that is an illustration of where the buttons are, and on the top, and then the trigger L1 on the left and R1 on the right, those are underneath, as well as the rollers that control exposure and also the angle of the camera. On the right hand side is the description of what each control does, and so as you go down here, camera, tilt, well, the first four up there are for the joysticks, and then we come down to takeoff and landing and cockpit glasses and display mode. And you can see cockpit glasses display mode shows L1. Okay, now just in case, let's say for instance that you're never going to fly FPV, and so you're not going to be using that trigger in the lower left hand corner, but that's the one that you change the display with. But let's say that let's go down, clear down to the bottom down here, and let's say that you want to be able to switch quickly between sport and video mode. Okay, and so if we go back up here, where's that at? Well, anyway, we'll just go down here and we'll hit switch mode. All right, now because it's not listed there. So now if we pull the trigger, left hand trigger, L1 now will work for that. L1 will make it so we can switch from video mode to sport mode, and we can switch back and forth between the two, and that makes it kind of handy if you're never going to fly FPV. But then let's say that you decide you're going to fly FPV, because if we go out of here, and no, we're not going to bother. Well, I'll just show you. If we decide you're not going to fly, you are going to fly FPV, and you want to switch that back, up here at the top on the right hand side it says reset. Just press that. Now we'll scroll all the way down, and switch mode is not labeled, but if we go up here to cockpit glasses display mode, then that's L1 again. So we can do the reset. But there's some things you can change. I would be real careful before you start changing things. For instance, you could use that trigger for takeoff and landing if you're never going to use FPV. But I wouldn't do that, because let's say that I do takeoff and landing and I hit L1. Okay, I'll pull the trigger. Now L1 makes it take off and land. But if I use that and I accidentally fly and I accidentally pull that trigger, wherever my drone is going to start landing. So I'm going to hit reset, make sure that's not back like it was. And so you can change all those, but think about it before you start changing things, and that way you won't you won't have problems. But anyway, so that's kind of a little short video. Hopefully it's helpful. And one thing I did, as I think I said before I even started, was I took my props off so that if it takes off in my office, it won't take off. But if it thinks it's gonna, anyway, I've got a video on that. Maybe I'll put a link to that. So that is how it works. And I hope that's been helpful, especially as far as knowing when you can have the mini-map and the FPV switching back and forth. It only happens when it'll only work when you're using your FPV goggles. So I want to thank you for watching, and God bless.